Welcome back to Daughters of Bikers. I am Shannon, your high priestess, daughter of Hecate, and your spiritual guide. Welcome to my episode 3, where today we are going to discuss visions, protections, and the new order that we have in our society and how we can embrace the awakening. I am Shannon. I'm your high priestess, and God, I am so excited to be here today. It's been a very rough few weeks for me. I have been deep in the thralls of grievance. I lost my service dog, and I took the time to really explore, feel, go through the emotional time period of loss and grief. And now that I have my baby's remains back, I feel a little bit more at ease, not so much in the grief stage, but more in the stage of starting to come back to my own personal life. And so I thank you for taking this journey with me. Um, I want to briefly discuss the episode today because we are going to shift a little bit of gears. You've heard how I was raised, my runaway, and that was only the first runaway. We will get into more of that throughout the episodes. That way we can keep any of the dogs that may be on our scent at bay, uh, as long as we don't get hit with any kind of violations or reported for anything. So here we go. Um, I really want to explain what this podcast episode really will be about. It is um fast forwarding to last year. So we do have a lot of chunk of my life that we're going to get back into in future episodes. We were only at my first runaway, and so we have a lot to go through. I have so much more to share with you guys. That is for sure. But today, particularly, we are going to flash forward from my runaway time to where I was last year. This time last year, February of last year. February of last year, I was restarting my business, rebranding it, reimagining, leaving the realm of being a women's guide and a women's coach, life coach, into more out of the closet, out of the broom closet, and into more of who I am really without the degrees, without all the certificates, right? And so I was like, because this is more my authentic self. And it just felt time to shift away from that. So I decided was going to focus purely on my spiritual practices, helping grow a community. I started a Facebook group, kept it private, built that group up, and I am absolutely in love with every woman that is in my group. They each bring such unique, authentic traits to our group that make it so special that I fell in love. It was perfect. Um, so we're rocking through that, and that was, you know, it was great. We were having classes, we were doing courses, I was teaching my spiritual practices. And it just, everything was feeling so authentic for me and my group. And it was just really starting to come together. I was starting to have a lot more of my own visions, my own, shall we say, channeled messages or downloads. Um, those are the closest words that I can come up with for what those are, even though I have a very vast vocabulary. I just, I feel like those are like the closest that can be resonated to what I was experiencing. And so I was getting these visions that would pop in my head. And I was treading lightly with them. I wrote them down in my journal. I made sure that I, acknowledged what they were. And along all of that, I started to realize that this was building up to something more. So my husband and I, we decide that May is our anniversary. We're going to go on a vacation. I have all the stuff booked. We're all excited. Yay, we're going on a vacation. Woohoo, this is great. We just did the symposium at Mount Shasta, and it, even though it was such a lot of just things being thrown in our way trying to get to that speaking event and everything that led up to it, it was just such chaos. But it still, to me, I thought went for my first, it was okay, right? Um, and so I noticed at that point when we got back from that trip, that would have been in March, that my little dog, Leo, our eldest dog, who was almost going to be 16 at that time, was starting to have a lot of issues. He was starting to get neurological things going on, a lot of bouts of what we were calling old man episodes, where he'd have these really crazy neurological hours where he couldn't figure out where he was. The world was spinning. He was scared. It was crazy. And so as spring is starting to approach, we start having better days. My husband and I realize that our little dog, Leo, he is not getting any better. And he has another episode, a really bad one. And he got through April, mid-April, before he had a really, really hard one. And it was so bad that it was that day he had to be put down. And so that, we're going through the throes of losing him, his companion, my service dog. She's trying to understand all of this. At this point, I realize, I'm really tired. I don't have the energy to keep going, to keep doing my group. So I picked up a couple energy drinks. Every day I was having an energy drink on top of the coffee that I normally drink. And so that was one of the things that I had also started to do. And then I noticed, I would say roughly anywhere from 50 to 100 crows started to circle my bedroom. Now, at the time, I knew what crow me sightings and crow numbers really meant. Um, but this many doing literally circling my bedroom landing on my roof, over my bedroom. I thought it was them guide helping to show me that my little guy was okay. Not realizing that no, the crows circling my bedroom had oh wow, was such a powerful symbol and deep, deep divine message coming through with that. So here we are. We get through our anniversary trip and we're just going through the normal throes of life. And the last week of May, I was still doing the same type of coffee and energy drink and all of that. So another thing that had been going on during majority of that whole half of that year already was a reoccurring vision before I'd fall into deep sleep. And it was a beautiful goddess that would come down, all in the most beautiful, glowing, warm light. I want to say a warm light, not like super bright white, but a warm light. And I, at that time, figured that this was my new channels, right? I was calling forth, asking to see and asking to have. And for the longest time, I couldn't, when I first experienced this with this goddess, I asked her, I'm sorry, what is your name again? And all I heard was Ayana. I didn't hear the Morgana part. I heard Ayana. So I was just like, okay, I don't understand. I don't understand. But one of the things that she would always, always say as she would leave was, and remember, follow the blue flame. Then it would become, and always remember, follow the blue flame. So I had no idea that this was actually setting the stage for what was to come. And it will all start to make sense in these next few minutes that I explain how this is all gonna all went down. Late May, May 31st, actually, to be exact, at 4:45-ish p.m. My husband had gotten home early that Friday, which is highly, highly unusual. I'm grateful, but highly unusual. As he settles in, he sits down and I sit next to him to start asking him, the wifey stuff. How was your day? Da, 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 da. I'm like, ooh, I got really bad heartburn. I don't know what this is. I've been struggling with the heartburn all day. No amount of Tums was helping it. Um, So at that point, I was like, you know what? Give me a minute. I need to run to the bathroom. I thought maybe I was going to throw up, but I was like, okay, maybe I just need to just use the restroom and I'll feel better. Let me put some water on my face, something. As soon as I got into the bathroom and I closed the door, the intense pain from what I thought was heartburn started getting worse. And I have a neurological issue with my spinal cord at my neck. I have a fused C5, C6, and it has I have nerve damage from that. And so on my left side, I have a lot of paralysis on the top of my skin, the sensations. I don't feel those. What I feel is a constant wet blanket on my left side. And the state of when your leg goes to sleep, those pins and needles feeling, I'm that whole left side is like stuck in that feeling. So there's like that neurological disconnect in my spinal cord. So my fingers and hands started feeling like the pins and needles were being electrically charged or something, and it was just flashing, 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 hard, hard, hurting, hard, hard, hard. So I'm like, okay, I need to go lay down. I walk out of the bathroom, go to my bedroom. My service dog, she notices instantly there's something not right. So she goes and alerts my husband, who yells down the hallway, "Are you okay?" And before I could even think about what I was saying, my mouth started moving. And it was, "No, I'm not. I think I'm having a heart attack." And he came running. He called 911. The fire department arrived first. They got me hooked up. They got me some late they gave me the nitroglycerin to because I was clearly showing signs that yes, I was in an active heart attack. And they're laughing at me because I'm still cracking jokes, being myself. Typical me. Got to make jokes when it's like super death experience. And so the fire department fireman, and he's like, "It's okay. We're gonna get through this. No worries. Just stay with me." And I remember him getting upset because he's like, "Where's that ambulance? Where's that?" His exact words, "Where's that fucking ambulance at?" And they're like, "It's still coming. It's down the way. They're trying to get here. Da da da." He's like, "Well, they could have been here 5 minutes ago. Grab something. We need to move her out so that we can instantly get her in as soon as they get here." Feels like maybe 3, 5 minutes go by, and here's the ambulance, the gurney. They had grabbed my chair out of my office and had wheeled me out to the front of the house. Um, I remember the paramedic and the firefighter getting into it, and I'm like sitting here going, "Guys, I'm having a heart attack. Can you not? Not right now, please. Just after, afterwards." So they get me loaded up into the ambulance. Um, the paramedic starts to notice what's going on, getting my vitals. He's calling it in. They get the call back that it's okay. Go ahead and give her a painkiller and start the nitro drip, right? To get me all ready, prepped for into the hospital. Well, I freaked out because he's like, "I'm going to give you some fentanyl." And I'm like, no, no, like I'm a former nurse. No, I'm anything else? Do you have anything else? Like, can you give me anything else? He's like, "This is all we have anymore on the trucks, and it is safe. It is not the stuff that you get on the streets." And, he did the whole thing to try to calm me down. And I'm like, you know what? At this point, I really just don't care. um, okay, fine. So he gave me 25 milligrams of the fentanyl. It started to calm down. He's like, "It will be out of your system by the time we get to the hospital, and then you'll be okay. They'll be able to assess you further." And I don't know if my body just, I am horrible when it comes to narcotics. My body does not do narcotics. My body does not do alcohol. It it will completely reject every bit of it. Anytime I've had to be under sedation for any type of medical procedures, it's always really hard for me to come out of it. It is horrible. I have the most worst experiences coming out of it. Um, and not only that, but I've woke up before during a medical procedure. And so it's, I'm very conscious of that type of medicines. And they assured me that it's okay, but apparently my body didn't like it because I believe that that would have been the first time my heart fully stopped and I crossed. That is the first time I remember sitting on the Black River, just sitting there. And I was just sitting there. And when I opened my eyes again, I was in the emergency room. My husband was coming down. I could see him coming behind my gurney or at my feet to the doctor. They pointed him to the doctor. I could see that while they were asking me questions. I'm trying to be double aware of what's going on everywhere. And I start to explain to them that the pain is so much worse now. Because when I opened my eyes again, the pain just hit me hella hard from in my chest. And I was just like, I just need this to stop. Can you please just stop the pain? And so at that point, apparently the cardiac team did what they normally do and proceeded to give me another dose of fentanyl. This one was a lot larger dose, which was 100 milligrams. So at this point, I was at 125 milligrams of fentanyl, and I was still not getting relief. But that 100 milligrams, as soon as it hit into my bloodstream, I could feel my eyes start to roll. They were rolling back. I was doing everything I could to stay focused on the tech in front of me. And as soon as I started to focus on that, I could hear him say, "We have eye roll." And I was out. Second time. That one was real quick. It was like seconds, just like, oh, whoa. And that's when they told me that I had a uh, clogged artery. When actually it was a clogged blood vessel in my heart. It wasn't one of my main arteries. It was one of the littler blood vessels. And that I needed to have a stent put in immediately and so that they could restore the blood to my heart before my heart received any more damage. So we're like, okay, go. Um, I remember that. I remember talking through that. And I remember asking the lead surgeon or nurse, are you going to be putting me under any kind of anesthesiology? And she was like, at this point, no, you're going to be awake. I'm like, okay, cool. Because I don't do good with that shit, right? Um, so I closed my eyes knowing at that time I was going to be okay because I'm an ex-nurse. I trust ER. I know the life-saving measures that they go through to try to save somebody's life, and I felt comfortable enough to know that this staff was going to try to save me. While I was getting my stent put in, I died. I went into cardiac arrest, full cardiac arrest. I saw the two lights ahead of me in this absolute darkness. But this darkness wasn't something I was scared of. It was comforting. It was peaceful. It made me feel complete. and I could see these two lights ahead of me. One was white, and one was like a blue flickering dance. And I instantly thought, that's got to be the blue flame. And I went towards that instead of the white light. As I opened up to this blue flame, it felt like as if I was opening a curtain that was in front of me that had caused all the darkness. And as I opened that curtain back, like coming through thick wooded bush trees type stuff, but just darkness. As I opened up that curtain, that veil, and took that step forward, I was on the most beautiful white sand beach with the most beautiful, beautiful crystal blue, aqua blue water in front of me. It seemed to stretch forever. The warmth, the calm, the peace, the tranquility that came over me is something that I had never experienced in this physical life. And as I was standing there, I could feel the power of the goddesses, as if Oya and Yemaya were there themselves holding my hand. But as I looked around, there was nobody there. And then I heard my name. And it was as if I was being called back because I came back into that darkness again. And I heard my name again. And I opened my eyes, and there was the nurse in front of me saying, "Welcome back, Shannon. Thank you for coming back. Wow. Yes, come on." And at that moment is when I realized my physical body was going through something very, very, very traumatic. I had been intubated at this time, which I don't remember being intubated, um, and put on the ventilator. I could hear the ventilator trying to breathe for me. And the my physical brain was like, one, the ventilator is not breathing fast enough for me. Like I breathe faster than that. Can you pick it up a little bit? And it wouldn't. Like I couldn't get it to go faster or I couldn't get it to catch up with me. And then I started to feel this mucus start to collect in my throat around the tube. And I realized that if it got into that tube because I could hear it starting to gurgle, that I was going to suffocate. I was going to become, I would have died. And y'all, I pulled the Kill Bill. Like that episode when she's sitting in the or laying in the coffin under the ground. I sat there and I Kill Billed it. I'm like, wiggle your toes. You need to wiggle your toes. You're gonna die, wiggle your toes. So started to feel my toes kind of wiggle, and I'm like, nobody's down that way to see your toes wiggle. You need to wiggle your hands. And so I started to wiggle, just willing, trying to call forth all that willpower just to come out of this, whatever they had given me to paralyze my body or whatever it is so that they could do the procedure. And I hear the doctor, her hands are wiggling. They're both wiggling. And I popped my eyes open and turned my head and looked at him. He went, "Are you okay?" And I started to choke a little bit so that he could hear that there was something going on. And he instantly heard it. He instantly jumped into action. "Grab me the suction, suction now. No, 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 no." And as soon as all that commotion started, I just released. I just relaxed again and just continued to let them do their job. And then I woke up again with my husband's hand touching me and the nurse and him telling me, "Welcome back." My husband saying, "Thank you for coming back to him." And I had to tell him, "You weren't there with me, so I had to come back because he's supposed to be there on that beach with me. I mean, that was our meeting place. We've always met there, and he wasn't there, so I had to come back." And he smiled. And then the nurse proceeded to tell me how amazingly strong and powerful I am, and how in awe he was of me. And I couldn't understand it. I was really out of it at that time. I don't know if it was from the fact that they were finally starting to give me regular pain medicine that wasn't fentanyl, I don't know what it was, but fast forward, all my tests came back fine, everything was fine. I'm doing great. Um, so having that, I have been struggling. I had been struggling. Like I tried to go back to work, I tried to restart work. I'd had friends ask me, loved ones ask me, "What happened? How are you? What's going on?" And I'm just, trying to process everything that up until this point, because there's so many little things that happened up until this point that I was just confused. And I knew that there had to be meanings behind all of this. I knew that this was something different, that something had changed in me. So I started to journal all of this down, started to talk to my coven sisters, started to talk to elders that I knew. And then things started to really fall into place. The blue flame is usually indicative of those that are blue star seeds. And we are always called to the blue flame. The crows circling over my home was their way of letting me know that the goddess was coming for me. She wasn't here for my dog, she was coming for me, and that I needed to be prepared. Seeing that blue flame reckon represented the divine guidance of Hecate and the higher cosmic frequency of the blue ray starseed lineage that I carry. The crows, my visions, and the thing that really, really stuck out to me is since that happened, how much clearer my visions had become. But they were dark, they were apocalyptic, they've been extremely vivid. And I needed to understand this. I thought that perchance, maybe it was because a near-death experience like that, you tend to have a more darker, morbid outlook of life itself and the things that you're experiencing. Well, as I decide, as I said, and I wanted to decipher all of this, I started to become aware by some of my elders and the goddesses that I am forever grateful to, and my coven sisters, who I am always eternally grateful to, began to help me unpack all of this. The first thing that we discovered is that my near-death experience wasn't a near-death experience. That was my initiation as a high priestess. That I didn't need to go through thousands of dollars of hoopla and shalamalonga ding dongs and all of that to be the high priestess that I have been ordained to be. It affirmed my role as a high priestess. And it also affirmed that I am here to help guide others. It also emphasizes on my ancestral lines. I am an Albanian, I have Chilean, and I am Sudanese. And all three of those are super powerful, spiritual, magical, and true goddess practicing heritages. And those are what's helping me to become who I am in this transformation process. So one of the things that I wanted to discuss is some of my visions. And some of my visions have become highly dark, as I had explained, apocalyptic, just very dark. And I couldn't understand them. And what I have found is that these energies that are coming to me, all of these visions, are because of the frequency being risen on our planet. I am at that frequency. I can feel and hear and see what is ahead and how our collective will experience trauma because of the global events. And on top of it, this heightened vibration are turning on so many people, switching on so many people till their spiritual awakening, that it's becoming louder and louder and louder, and there's more chatter in the collective mindset. And so I want to assure you that those of you that are out there that are listening, that if you're resonating with that understanding, there's a frequency being elevated. That is, your experiences, yes, are highly unique to you. And it is a reflection of the broader, more global phenomenon that we are facing right now. Because we are in a spiritual shift, sisters. We are there. We are watching it in real time. So I want to reassure you guys that you have somebody here in me that is here to serve you as a guide, as a healer, and as a teacher. I want you guys to know that with me, you will be able to have a sacred circle, especially for our full and new moon gatherings. We can connect, we can heal, we can align with our divine energies, which we each have our own. No two are the same, no two are open, no two are closed practices. This is not the message they gave. The importance that we have right now is that we need to focus on protecting our energy because these super intense spiritual terrains that we're about to embark upon, we need to protect our energy and our practices. And that is crucial. That is crucial. That is probably the most important thing. Also, I want to, in further episodes to come, I would like to help you guys understand common challenges that we're all facing right now, which is one, the overwhelm from the collective energy. There are so many people being switched on. There are so many that are tapping in now, that are finding out where they're supposed to be, and all of this energy is all around us swirling. And so I want to help bring a a calm to that overwhelm. I want to help you also discern in the disturbing visions that not only I am having, but I know so many of you out there are having as well. And also those intrusive thoughts of negativity that is being put in our mind because of social medias, the news, the current climate of our country. All of those things are playing into all of this. So if I can give some really small tidbits for you, I would first make sure you're staying grounded, staying with your daily meditation, even if it's for 3 to 5 minutes a day. Just that moment to ground down into yourself and down into this earth, to connect with that energy, to understand that that frequency that you are feeling is not just yours. Another great thing is if you can spend time in nature. If you can't, I want you to begin to build a practice where you can visualize a protective sphere of light that engulfs you. And I want you to, as you build that light, pay attention to the color. What light is being built in your mind of your protection bubble? Because that might help you in building out your medicine wheel to understand your own path, like I have. And if you're interested in my medicine wheel course, I have no problem. We can discuss it. I have free consultation on my website, and we can go over what the medicine wheel is. Another great thing that you can start to learn to do is join me in cord cutting ceremonies in our new and full moon. These energy clearing baths that I sell on my website. And staying strong with your crystals, making sure that you're always wearing your protective crystals. Another great thing is to recognize when you're absorbing too much energy. How much are you pulling in from your environment? Okay. And I want to help teach you how to shield yourself. So in these coming episodes, we will go through a lot of that. We're also going to be talking about today, specifically, making sure you have a spiritual emergency kit. What to grab, when to grab it, in case some of us are going to get rounded up. And those of you that have had the visions of being in the camps or being picked up and deported, those of you that are seeing that Hitler-esque type environment happening here in the US, I want you to be able to know what you can build as an emergency kit that you could be able to sneak past these ultra, ultra MAGA Christian nationalists. So let me explain the situation, right? And the circumstances to your emergency kit. When to grab, what to grab when Roundup happens. We're going to call it Roundup. So whether it's going to be due to the energetic overloading or just external pressures, demand us to have some quick, portable tools to maintain our spiritual practices if this, if and when this happens. Because I don't know about you guys, but I've already seen the posters that get put up in every city, everywhere, all over, telling people that certain Hispanic populations need to check in, to be vetted, to go to the camps. There's no easy way to put that. And yes, I have even seen this man take away birthrights of citizens of the United States that are of Hispanic heritage, i.e., Puerto Ricans, i.e., Hawaiians, i.e., Guamanians. So, U.S. Virgin Islands, the territories, those places that were territories that we had been afforded our citizenship through, he removes. So I have already seen this poster. I'm not sure exactly how much longer before that happens, but like it it's in the pipelines. I feel it. So let's just talk about really quickly some of the things that you can put into your emergency spiritual kit in case you get separated from your normal lifestyle, your normal coven, your normal altar spaces. Let me go ahead and light this candle real quick. So, something you're going to want, easy, quick, a birthday candle. Doesn't matter the color. We've Most of all the sisters that I've taught, they understand color doesn't really matter. We didn't have colored candles back in the day. So, you need a small spiritual candle, period. Birthday candle are great because they're small, they're compact, and they're petite. And you're gonna always have this to be the symbol of the divine God guidance and or your own protection rituals. If you can grab a sacred oil for this emergency kit, the best one that I would suggest is a La Bamba oil. If you can get your hands on a La Bamba oil, you're going to want to keep that with you because that will help you to anoint yourself, anoint your tools, and to give that, you know, real strong protection or any other protective blend that you prefer. A small piece of black tourmaline, okay, or amethyst. So I don't know if they're going to take away our amulets and our pentagrams and stuff of that nature, or if they're going to let us keep them. What I would suggest you do is to make a meditation, 108 meditation mala, a set of mala beads, because it's it's a spiritual and you can have all your black crystals on there. And this way you'll have also cord or string if you need, for if maybe you need to do a quick cord cutting ritual, or something like that. Um, a herbal sat incense or satchel. So something that you can keep maybe some sage in, or a stick of Palo Santo. Okay. Um, and then maybe something small like a personal token. So say they're like, no, you can't take your Book of Shadows with you. You can pull or rip out a small page from it, or something that maybe it's your opening incantation for your book, something like that to keep with you, to keep together. And so how you would use this little kit is simple. You light your candle, you anoint yourself, your candle with it, your herbs, you anoint your your crystals. You can recite a short mantra or prayer. Try to, if you are in a camp, try to use Psalms, any of the Psalms, because those are already ours already. And we have already hidden all the wording in there. Just use your Psalms. Make sure that, you're staying strong with your Psalms. Um, And then one thing I want you guys to remember is that this kit is meant to empower you quickly, quickly when you're feeling overwhelmed or you're under pressure. Okay. So let us talk about something else that you can do right now while we're dealing with all of this day to day. And this is integrating new direction into our daily life, because we are being constantly bombarded right now with new information, new direction, new this, new that. So it's really important that you keep your daily rituals that keep you grounded, such as your meditation in the mornings, journaling, booty shaking music, whatever it is that helps keep that energy clear and flowing. You need to stay with that. That will help you, because this will help you build a sacred routine. Involved in the community and your sacred circles. I invite all of my listeners to join my full and new moon circles. It is a safe and transformative place where you can come together with me and all of my sisters, where we can honor the divine, we can share our experiences, and we can begin to support one another through this time. Because right now it is very important that we keep our group together. So also I have coming up workshops. I have guided meditations on my YouTube, on the Mighty Networks. We are trying to build up Mighty Networks where I can do classes again, where I can dive deeper into more sacred occult teachings, goddess worship, and magical practices from all around the world that are technically considered closed practices. But I have a strong belief that if your heritage and lineage is amongst one of these closed practices, you are allowed. And even if you're not, if it resonates with your spirit, because we know that this is not our first lifetime here on this planet. We all know that we have come and gone and come and gone. So maybe it was a past life that connected with that. So again, closed practices shouldn't be so taboo for people to learn, because nobody really knows the past life. There are a lot of spiritual practitioners in Santeria, in Santo Muerte, in Ifa, and that can see those lineages and help. But a lot of the times people, they will charge you a lot of money for that. And for me, like I did all of my practices mostly on my own and with elder sisters that helped me to understand and become aware. So if I am able to get where I'm at, I believe you can too. So this is the call to action and our closing today. I encourage any of my listeners to reach out, share in the comments your experiences, join the community um, that I have built, like my Muse Goddess Botanica. We are on Blue Sky, we are on Mighty Networks, or you can go straight to my webpage and here on YouTube. Um, we will no longer be doing Facebook, Instagram. I don't do TikTok. Um, any of the ones that are going to become state-ran media platforms, I will not be allowing my time or energy on. Okay. Um, so I encourage you to reach out to me, get in touch with me if you want to join our Mighty Network, or if you want to join our Goddess Cove. That is on my website. We are still only at $7.47 a month for the membership fees. So get over there while you can before I raise the prices. And just remember, together we rise, we are healing, and we are here to transform the world one spirit at a time. And with that, my beautiful sisters, I say thank you. I am excited to pop out the next episode for you guys, which is going to be very soon because we need to jump into this Project 2025 that the administration is pushing down your throats. I need to help you guys navigate this shift, and we will be using practical tactics for energetic survival, and for clarity during these trying times. Thank you so much, sisters, for joining me, and I appreciate you. And till next time.